Okay, great. Thank you, Bruno, for starting the presentation. We see the people coming in, a lot of people. So we give them some time and then we start. Okay, welcome attendees and speakers. Welcome to this webinar on transparency and traceability in food retail. This is a webinar with a few hundred attendees and 3 speakers. This session will be recorded and it will become available for replay afterwards. Be aware that everything we do here is anonymous, except of course what we do as speakers. So the agenda and the speakers, who do you see here? Well, we start with Madi Mekic. Madi is from NXP and he will set the scene. And then Karel Achter from Avery Dennison will talk about smart labels and he will elaborate on how you use them and how it went through the past and the future. Then Walter Stiers from IBM will follow with an explanation of how this fits to the food trust blockchain. I am Barto Dreugen. I am your host today. I'm also from IBM. In one of the blocks on your right side of your screen, or on the bottom, but it will be on the right side, you see a Q&A area. And in that Q&A area, you can add your questions. So any solutions you think that we present that is valuable for you, or any challenges it will solve, please ask them and start asking them in the Q&A area. So let's start with, I hear a lot of noise. Let's start with the first presenter. Madi, can you tell us more about the market trends?
Thank you, Barto, for the introduction. And it will be my pleasure to set the scene by saying what trends we see in the market when it comes to food retail. There are 3 major trends that a lot of the discussion is going around, and that is the trend of local, the trend of healthy, and the trend of the right quality. So say a few words more about each of these pillars that we observe. What is central to all of these 3 pillars is the fact that there is significantly higher consumer awareness happening in the market right now. We as users and consumers are more concerned, we're paying more attention, we are demanding more information, and we are also more difficult to satisfy. So when it comes to the pillar of healthy and local choices, there are a number of key points to mention. First of all, we want to eat that which is good for our body, but also we look at what is good for the environment. Meaning, the key word, of course, here being organic, because that has significant impact on the health of our body, but also through the various chemicals that are used in non-organic growing, also the environment is hurt as well. On the other side, we also are focusing on local choices and local food, and that's also for a number of reasons. First one being the attempt to reduce the carbon footprint of the food we put on our table. Meaning we prefer to buy locally so that the food that is on our plate did not have to travel across the world and thereby pollute the environment. But also another consideration is a economical one, and that is we also want to support the local farmer, somebody who is in our neighborhood. In addition to wanting to eat healthy and local choices, there's also increasing willingness on the consumer side, not only to demand higher quality, but also to pay for that higher quality. And there's of course a limit to what we're willing to pay, but in our demand and quest to eat healthy, local, organic, quality food, we're also willing to pay a premium. Then on a totally different level, we could say, being more and more spoiled as consumers, and that is evident through our increasing demand for convenience. We want to make sure that the food we buy gets to us in easy way, easy accessibility, speed of service, etc. This is evident in a number of different ways. One of them being, we want to have a store that's close by in our apartment complex or close or so that we do not have to travel quite a lot to get our food supplies. This is especially so in those types of foods that we consume very regularly, that are in normal everyday diet. Now, when we also go to the store, we also want to get in and get out, meaning we want to get the service very quickly. We don't want to stand in line. We don't want to have to wait to pay, etc. So the ease of checking out once we gather the food that we want to buy is also a crucial element of our common practice today. And that also means that there are different types of checkout stations, different type of stores, all designed around this consumer trend that says, hey, I want to get in and get out very quickly. On top of that, sometimes we don't even want to go out at all. Forget the store close by, forget the easy checkout. We want the food to be delivered to us, to our food doorstep. And this can be done on demand, where we order what we basically need or what we want to get delivered. Or there are also a number of subscription services where we say, these are the things that we normally consume in a week, and therefore we want to get it delivered fresh to our doorstep on a regular basis. On top of these trends, there's also a trend in which consumers want new experiences. They want to try out different stuff. They want to try out new things that they have not experienced before, be it a different flavor of a particular food that they normally eat, be it food from a totally different geographical region, or be it some exotic, rare types of food. So willingness and demand and a desire to experience new things when it comes to food. There are also new brand experiences, meaning if we eat a particular type of food on a regular basis, we're willing to experience and try the same type of product, but from a different brand. And we also see new brands coming out in a given category that we normally buy and consume. And then lastly, there are also new type of store experiences, meaning we see in a number of regions around the world new different types of stores that are popping up in terms of offering different experience. There are stores without any staff, with smart shelves, with self-checkout and so forth. But also there are new experiences in existing stores. For example, the freshly baked bakery products in a variety were either available in a dedicated bakery shop or in a very large high-end supermarkets. Nowadays we see that also the everyday average supermarkets also have a lot of freshly baked products. So having looked at all of these different trends that are common among today's consumers, we need to pause and ask ourselves, well, what kind of intelligence do I derive from this? How do I make this meaningful for our business? And what are the actionable objectives that I can set for myself based on these market trends? And we have done a lot of work and thought. We put a lot of thought in this between IBM Avery and us at NXP, and we try to derive these actionable business objectives based on these trends. And this is what we would like to present to you as well, as kind of a summary of what we believe these trends mean for brand owners and food brands and food retailers. And that is, the objective in today's trends in today's market is to be a brand or retailer which offers convenient access to the right quality product with a pedigree that is trustable and easily accessible, but to do all of this, of course, in an efficient and cost optimized manner. Now, how to achieve this goal and how to get to this target, I ask my colleague Carl to take over and lead you through that. Carl?
Thank you, Madi, for giving this precise overview of the trend in the retail business. This has highlighted topics as what you mentioned: local, healthy, quality products, convenience store, checkout frictionless, service delivery, click and collect, social media, trying new food experience, new cuisine, story and story of your products until the origin. From my point of view, the last month, there has been an acceleration of innovation. Tries new concepts from the retailers as the dark store quickly done and adapted to the situation that we are living through the pandemic. Needed also to adapt or review their organization for some existing solution, as a click and collect, in-store or by car, where the demand exploded. The fact is there is no anymore only one model of retail, but retail need to be able to propose all these kind of alternatives. Today, your customer want to shop in your store, and tomorrow to shop through the click and collect, and the following day maybe to be delivered directly at home. The main challenge of this omnichannel is the visibility of your products on the stock between one solution to another solution, with at the end a negative effect for the retailer and the dissatisfaction of your customer if the product is out of stock or if the product is replaced by another one. The solution for this omnichannel development goes through the accuracy of your stock. One of the solutions is the digitalization of your products. In order to give unprecedented visibility and management capability along your full supply chain, also customer experience in-store and post-purchase. What it means to digitize or how to digitize your products with the intelligent label. In 1970 was created the GTIN or EN 30, what we call also barcode, with the identification of your products. The first part, it's the processor identification. The second part, it's the product number. Working well, but today, regarding transparency, traceability, it can be limited, essentially for the food market. It's quite limited also because the consumer are more and more demanding, and the regulation is more and more strict. There is also the QR code, 2D or 3D, where mainly used for what I call marketing approach, to give a story or history of your products from the origin, the farm, where we can fix more information than the barcode. Can be also the good combination with the intelligent label. NFC, near field communication, well developed with your credit cards. I think recently, the last month, you pay maybe with the credit card, with any contact. This is the NFC technology. Also, we use the NFC for some customer experience to give the story of the products. For example, with some bottle of wine, where you just need to bring your smartphone close to the bottle and you collect the information of the products. So also the traceability of these products and the transparency. In this case, this solution replaces the QR code. On this evolution, there is a RFID, radio frequency identification. Even if this technology is not really new, was created during the Second War for the aviation. Anyway, since 10 years, its development is exponential in terms of quantity, use case, and in terms of technologies improvement. Label and device more performing. What is in the anatomy of this RFID label? Like a normal adhesive with on the top a printable face stock where we can print description, many information, shelf life, lot number, QR code, some adhesive on the back, And in between, we have the antenna with different size according the use case or the distance we want to read from the reader to the label. On this, also we have the microchip where we encode a lot of reliable information. It's also important to know this RFID tag is what we call passive, means there is no battery on it. This RFID tag, it's, how I can say, is a sleeping. This tag we will wake up when we will use RFID device readers. The RFID tags allow to read food package without a line of sight. This is extremely important. It's not like the barcode or the QR code. It's directly go through the frequencies. Read a large number of items on the box or on the pallet immediately in few seconds. We don't need to open. It collects all the information inside the box. In full transparency, the RFID tag connect food products with unique digital identity to your IT system, such as the traceability software or blockchain program. Which information to encode on this RFID tag for the food market? GTIN, of course, we will follow all the GS1 standard. Lot or batch number, very important, I will explain. Expiration date or best before date or use date. Serial number, given at this label, unique identifier. Imagine if you have in front of you 10 bottles of drink with the barcode, you have 10 similar, identical bottles of drink. With the RFID label, these 10 bottles become unique. And this makes big difference when we are speaking about traceability and transparency. You give the ID on each bottle. As you can see on the slide, what is required for the RFID? It's mainly three things. The first thing, it's the tag. We already mentioned some things about it. The second thing, it's the reader device. Reader device, you have different kind. Like you can see on the pictogram, it's what we call mobile or handle, very easy to use. But we can also use some fix we set up on the ceiling, or if we have any project on the logistic platform DC, we can also to have some reader around the gate. This reader picks up the signal of 100 tags in the short time and transmit data to the software platform. And the third thing, it's the software. Software processes the data, guide its operation, and feed a large number of data to your system. Now, if I come back on the title of this webinar, how the RFID enabling greater transparency and traceability in the food retail. I will share some use case and benefits at the store level with the RFID on the item level. First use case, it's the good receiving. With complete elimination of manual scanning, hundreds of information is transferred in few seconds. Given any alert, if you have any products missing, compare what you receive with your ASN, Advanced Shipping Notice. It also gives you the alert if you have received too much products. Like this, you avoid all the contestation with your logistic provider or your suppliers. And also, you reduce the administration task, saving labor cost and better productivity. Avoid a lot of mistakes. The second one I would like to share with you, and for me it's very important, it's the inventory. I know how it's difficult to organize the inventory in the retailers because it's so many items. Also, in terms of resources, it's never easy to organize. With the RFID, it's easy to organize, precise and so fast to execute. It's 60 times faster than scanning products one by one. Your stock becomes always your real stock. You don't have any more difference between your theoretical stock and your real stock. It's always the same one, real stock on the real time. Facilitating ordering decision means increasing your turnover by the availability of the products, reducing the shrinkage and waste by less overstock, increasing your statistic margin by less markdown. Also, regarding the omni-channel, this optimizes your omni-channel with accuracy stock. You know exactly how much you have and also the localization of your stock. Another important use case for the retail, it's the daily shelf life management. I know how this is an irritant task. Daily, check products one by one to check the shelf life best before date. With the RFID, you're saving labor time by 50 to 60%. You reduce also the food waste by anticipation. Redisplay in the front of shelf, make action on the massive presentation or markdown. This is proactive. It's also the solution on the replenishment during the day. Simplify this task. It's so fast and precise. You know which products it's out of stock or close to be out of stock on your shelf, and quickly you can prepare on the background and to bring in the store on the POS. Also, another important use case with the RFID, it's the food alert. The RFID offers an efficient handling of recall products. We know from the retailer, when we dispatch the products on the DC for each store, we lost the trace of the lot number. Now with the RFID, quickly you know exactly, precisely, which lot number on which store, how many products you have on your shelf, and even, why not, to go until your customer to inform you. One of use case offering a unique customer experience, it's the checkout frictionless. The self-checkout is 7 times faster as the current checkout. Regarding what we are living now, this is extremely interesting. Also, you can add some new payment model like the scan and go, with the possibility to activate the alarm if somebody by accident forget to pay the goods. At the distribution center or the supplier processor, I would like to mention mainly 4 use cases. The first one is elimination of manual scanning, offering better productivities. The second one is the accuracy of your stock and the precise localization on your warehouse. Another one is the better management on your FIFO, first expiry date, first out rotation, reducing also the weight, the shrinkage. And also, as previously, for the recall products management, you know where, how many, in which store or DC. Avoid a lot of cost, direct cost, like organize to get back all the products, or indirect cost, like the image of your brand. Now, at the farm level, it's the starting point for the traceability and authentication at the product source. The initial starting point for the blockchain program, facilitate and securize all the data transfer, giving a brand story and customer connection and confidence. Before to hand over to my colleague Walter, I would like to finalize by adopted RFID technology will increase at first your operational tasks along the supply chain and also to offer a lot of data information. With the data from the RFID tags on the products, will feed into IoT system, will enable new engagement between food products and your customer. Also, blockchain and RFID along the entire supply chain will ensure unprecedented level of trust and traceability in the food products. Walter, can you tell us more about the blockchain? Thanks.
Thank you, Karel, for these clarifications on these technology and solutions. And indeed, as you mentioned, for traceability and transparency, we need to share data across the full supply chain and across the different parties of the supply chain, and so blockchain can help there. We probably all know that blockchain is a very recent and advanced technology which allows different enterprises and organizations to share information in a trusted, secure, and immutable way. And to do so, the blockchain is based or built upon a distributed ledger. In this ledger, we log the transactions which are agreed upon by consensus and which are forced by the system to follow these consensus. And these logs are then made available on the platform and cannot be tampered anymore by any party. So at the end, we have a secure and trusted system available. Now, within the food supply chain, we always see the benefit of a permissioned blockchain. And a permissioned blockchain means that every party participating into the network, everyone who is putting data onto the system or reading the data from the system is well defined. And as such, we can grant access to the information or we can deny access, giving a privacy which the blockchain allows us to build trusted ecosystems within this full supply chain. Now, one of the questions we often get is if the blockchain is intended to replace an existing system, but what we see is that the blockchain is just being built as a backend system, integrating with the existing data gathering environments on the work floor within the enterprise, and as such, building a kind of gateway between the corporations to pass on the data in a secured way. As such, we can say that the blockchain is enabling to digitize the physical world in a trusted manner. Now, when we do so, we see that we collect the data, as you already mentioned, Karel, quite often from the grower, or even sometimes from the input from the grower, from the input materials, and we can then follow on the produce across the supply chain through all different activities in the processors, the packaging, the distributors, the warehouse, up to the retail activities and the consumers. As we discuss here, transparency and traceability, well, the original idea of the blockchain was quite often to begin with this provenance or track and trace ID, mainly to enable food safety improvements or to have a show-off of the qualities of a specific brand towards the consumers at retail stores. However, more recently, we see that detailed management and optimization of the supply chain logistics are also becoming part of the objectives of these blockchain solutions. And we see that visibility towards the freshness, the cold chain, or the sustainability and energy consumption of the supply chain are also included into the data being put on the blockchain and the data being consumed by the end user of this environment. And as you can imagine, smart tags or electronic registration can easily help in collecting these data at that moment. Now, as mentioned already, these data are collected by the traditional application and shared between the partners of the supply chain on a permission-based access control on the distributed ledger. And on this ledger, we do not store all details of the data in the blocks of the blockchains, you know, the real high-tech block mechanism of the blockchain, but we use those blocks only for the crucial data, and we link these blocks with the details, which are quite often bulky, which we store in a secured read-only data store next to the blockchain, which can be accessed through the blocks and be safeguarded with the same permissions and same access control as the normal blockchain data. as such, once again, guaranteeing privacy and security of data on that side. Now, if we look at the full ecosystem of a supply chain, we see that all members of the supply chain can benefit from it. We see that the growers can benefit it in showing their sustainability of the growth practices, in showing their compliance with requirements. We see that food manufacturers can have easier certificate management by digitizing those certificates and putting it on the blockchain so it's immediately visibility across the supply chain is imminent. The wholesalers and distributors have an easy platform to execute recalls or to execute details of the traces of the lots they distribute. Food logistics can show their meeting of compliance. Food retailers can show customers that their food is safe, and everybody has a benefit from one side or another in showing the transparency of those data across the food trust. And most important maybe is that the consumer can easily understand the provenance of the food, show the transparency of it, and have a better trust in what their food is. Now, in order to build such a blockchain environment, you need an ecosystem of partners trusting each other. And what we noticed was that it has three major requirements to build upon. And to drive the true value of this blockchain ecosystem, you need, from the first step, you need a business model in which each and every partner of the ecosystem putting data on it or reading data from it needs a business benefit in using this transparent and trust environment. Every party has to get its benefit out of it. Second, you need a governance model agreed among all parties. Who can join the blockchain? Who can add additional parties on the blockchain? How do you put the data on the blockchain, and who can see them, and how far can they use it? What about changing the logic about the agreements you made? And every additional aspect about parties and data on the blockchain, you need to clarify in a clear governance model. And last but not least, you need to trust each other, and you need a trust model in the full ecosystem environment. As you can imagine, it takes time to establish those three criteria, but as far as we know, it works, and it did show proof already. And I mean, we see quite some parties operating worldwide blockchains across their full supply chain environment. And I listed here some names. For instance, Walmart, which was the original partner we built together IBM Food Trust with them. And they started with pork provenance, and they implied in the North American region to have the blockchain for the food safety of their leafy greens. And they are working together with some other of those parties. You see their names on this slide. Driscoll's used the blockchain to optimize their third-party logistics and to get the freshness of their produce as a guaranteed output from their supply chain. The Carrefour used it for quality of their brand and showing some sustainability. And Golden State Food is maybe the best example, because they also use the smart tags to allow the cold chain to be visible to all parties in the blockchain, and as such also reducing the need for refrigeration. So they reduced energy consumption in using a blockchain with smart tags on it. And last but not least, Nestlé has a very creative environment in which consumer goods and retailers work together to get a clever and smarter approach towards consumer. Now, when we see this and we see those samples of how blockchain and smart tags or electronic labeling can help each other, we want to show how our companies work together. And for that, I ask Maddie to continue with his clarification on that.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you for the handover. And of course, the question is, we have seen the trends, we have seen what solutions can be used to address those trends. And the question is, of course, then why choose the three companies that are presenting, IBM, Avery Dennison, and NXP. So with that, allow me to first to say a few words about the NXP itself. We are one of the top 10 semiconductor companies globally. And our focus in the market is on providing secure connections for a smarter world. What we mean by that is that everything around us is nowadays more intelligent. Devices in our homes, devices in our cars, etc. Everything has intelligence packed inside, and and everything is connected to everything else. And in that world in which everything is intelligent and everything is connected to everything else, the security of those connections is also very crucial. And that is what we as a company focus on. We've been in the market already for more than 60 years, so have 6 decades of industry experience behind us. And our portfolio of RFID products is very broad, ranging from basic ICs, basic chips, to secure solutions. We are one of the inventors of near-field communication, which is nowadays found in practically every mobile phone and in many other applications, in our credit cards, etc. And in various smart city and other applications, we ship billions of ICs annually. We are already a trusted partner by many governments in their e-government applications, as well as in transportation and retail industry. So with that, I ask Carl to say a few words about Avery.
Thanks, Maddie. Now, why us? At first, because we definitely believe in the near future, every item will have a unique digital identity, giving the possibility of the entrance to digital life, offering transparency and traceability for this item along the full supply chain. A lot of people know Avery Dennison, specialized for functional material and as a printer range or with the adhesive labeling. This is true, but not only. And regarding the purpose of the day, we are the world's largest RFID partner. Last year, we produced more than 30 billion RFID inlay. Every year, this amount increased by 20%. The reason is more and more new markets explore and adopt this technology. We have more than 100 different tags able to cover many markets and use case opportunity. With production capability around the world and more than 50 service bureaus close to your manufacturing and sourcing. Of course, the sustainability is a priority for Avery Dennison. Our smart face technology is one of our most sustainable solutions on the market, where we have replaced the plastic PET by a paper substrate for our labels. From our research and development department, we have more than 1,000 patents and applications focusing for the RFID solution. As our WaveSafe, this is a special tag designed for the food market to be able to use on the microwave. Or we have also the metal and the liquid tags offer high performance for any canned food or bottle of drink. Both are really and very successful for the food market. We can support you for any RFID project, from the POC, proof of concept, to the pilot until the rollout. If you have we have a special program, what we call the 5-step adoption process. This is a methodical approach to discover the RFID technology and their application. So don't hesitate to contact me if you have any question or interest for the RFID in the food market. Thanks. Walter, can you tell us more about IBM?
Yes, surely, Karel. Thanks for the handover. And well, yes, IBM is more than 5 years active on the blockchain solutions and also in the food supply chain together with this Walmart project. And today we have already more than 160 food companies, be it processors or retailers, active on the food trust and on the IBM blockchain transparency supply solutions. Now, it all starts from the technology, and IBM is a member of the Hyperledger open source project, and we develop a large part of this Hyperledger technology and give it to the open source community where they use it for their benefit. And then we take back and we productize it, so we make it reliable and easy usable as the IBM blockchain platform. And on this IBM blockchain platform, we build the solutions like IBM Food Trust, and we have delivery centers dedicated to these blockchain solutions, going from collecting the data to building the ecosystems to building the data interchange across blockchain. And one of them is located in IBM Groningen in the Netherlands. Now, on top of this platform and solutions, we really realized a lot of solutions and engagement already, and a few I would like to mention. I already discussed briefly the IBM Food Trust. We started it with Walmart 5 years ago, and later on the other companies like Nestlé, Carrefour, Kroger, Albertson, and so on joined. We also have another solution, TradeLens. TradeLens is made there for container shipments, marine container shipment. We do have another solution, HyperInsight. HyperInsight is the solution Golden State Food is using for managing the cold chain, knowing that everything is working fine, but also have detailed insight into the in-stock processing of it. And then last but not least, we assembled the core parts of the IBM Food Trust technologies and similar projects into a recent announcement, which was the blockchain for transparency supply. And you will find the link into the resource slide and resource tag. And the blockchain for transparency supply is a supply chain solution for transparency, including permission detailed analytics of the data and also operational decision-making tools, so you can automate processes within the blockchain environment on the ledger. And if you hear all these technology being available and the capabilities we have from a services point of view, I'm strongly convinced that the time is ready now for the ecosystems and the supply chain partners to come together and build these transparency systems to optimize the food supply chain for the better. Now, Madi, I believe you can best of us three summarize what's going
Thank you, Walter. And before we, so looking at the time, we're good. Before we go to the questions that we have received, many in the chat box, thank you very much for those questions. I would like to summarize the message that we had for you today in this presentation. Basically, again, beginning with the consumer trends that we have seen, we understand that nowadays consumers expect healthier, higher quality, local food products, which they can access with more convenience and which they can have different new experiences. And if they need to pay a little bit more for that, they are happy to do so. As food brands and food retailers, the focus should be on offering this convenient access to the right quality product with a trustable pedigree that's also easily accessible, and doing all of this, of course, in an efficient and cost-optimized manner. In terms of the solution that can help you reach the target is blockchain and RFID in smart labels. That's something that ensures this secure end-to-end traceability with value for all involved parties in the ecosystem. The journey to benefit from blockchain and or RFID intelligent labels has already begun. We've also mentioned many examples, and there are many more of companies that are benefiting from these type of solutions. And between NXP, Avery Dennison, and IBM, you basically have the right partners at the table to bring such solutions to life. And we would love to hear from you on how we can do that in your case. So with that, I hand over back to our host and moderator, Barto. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Marty. Okay, we have asked you in the beginning, what is the value of this solution and are there any challenges? And lucky enough, we got a lot of questions, so I will distribute them to the team. And I will ask them to answer those. Before we do that, on your right side of your screen or under the green hand, you see a small survey with 2 questions. So if you can spend some time on answering those 2 questions, that would help us a lot. Okay, we got some great questions, as I said, and there is a very funny one. I like this one. Who is tagging all the items? So who is doing it, but also how does this happen at the source? How do you tag, for instance, an apple or a lemon? And I think this is great because the one who puts the stickers on is Karel. So Karel, can you give us an insight on how do I tag the items and how does it happen at the source, tagging apples, lemons, or even eggs?
Thank you, Barto. Thank you for this question. Yes, for this question, yes, of course, it will be tagged at the source. Yes, you mentioned about apple, pears, or some fruits. So this regarding the price, etc., it will be a little bit complicated to do that at the source by one pieces. Now we work more and more with some partner on the scale maker, where they produce also the scale with the RFID technology. So it's mean this scale has the readers. So what we develop, it's also some textile bag with the RFID on it, where we can when we can put the products inside to set up on the scale and to collect also the labeling. So this we work with some partner for these possibilities, because normally, yes, the products, it will be done on the production line, but after it's also products by products, case by case.
Okay, great, because that also answers the question about what is the cost for a tag. It depends a little if you take RFID or NFC. Can you elaborate a little on that? And that's also the reason why you put it probably on the package or on the bag or on the crate or whatever. So is there an indication for what is the cost for a tag? Because a barcode is just some ink.
Yes. So what I can tell you regarding the price, of course, regarding the last 15 years, this price divided by 5-6 times. So now the price is become more and more attractive for this food market. We know the food market, it's not the same margin than some other industry. So margin is quite low. So we need to take care of that. Now, we have different technology, different kind of tags, like what I mentioned to you for the special wave safe for the microwave, or special metal or liquid for canned food or drinks. So we have also some standard. So the average price, it's around, I can say 7 cents, but after it's depend what is it the project and also the quantity. I cannot hear you, Barto.
No, I lost my mouse. It's back in the screen. Thank you for that. We have apples, we have pears, and you can scan them. But there is also a question about, can you put RFID, for instance, on metal or in liquids or in a freezer? So how good can RFID or NFC tags being read and even if they are in a complex environment? So Madi, can you maybe answer on that one?
Certainly, thank you, Martin, for the question. If RFID is, if the RFID antenna that goes into the tag is developed without taking environment into consideration, if you make a general purpose tag and then you place it in a very difficult environment such as a metal or liquid, and those are indeed environments that are difficult for RF to operate in general, you can of course have unsatisfactory results. However, if you know that this is a tag that I will be placing in such difficult scenario, then you can take those materials where the tag will be attached to into account and design it in a way so that when it works in a normal environment, it doesn't actually perform best, but when placed in the desired target environment, then you achieve the optimal results. Now, there is one example that I think combines many of the things that you have mentioned: metal, liquid, freezer. There are solutions out there in the market with intelligent refrigerators, if you will, and they even serve like a vending machine. In which you have soft drinks and cans of soda and other food items, where each item is really tagged with a RFID tag, and the shelves in that freezer are intelligent shelves with a reader antenna built inside for automatic inventory and for inventory before and after you take something out of that freezer. So it basically knows what you took out and how much you need to be charged. And there are solutions that are dedicated labels that can be attached to, as mentioned, cans of soda or water bottles or similar items, and they work very efficiently in this environment.
Okay, very related to this question, and I saw that Carl also has some comments on this, but before going to Carl, maybe you can also elaborate a little on how do you recycle RFID tags or NFC tags, because it's still electronics, it's chips. So what happens with the text itself? And then we go later to Carl and ask him the same, but then for the whole label.
Sure.
So how environment friendly are they?
They're very environment friendly, and especially the latest generation of products. And I think Carl probably can speak more to that. Our product, the silicon, it's natural. Basically, it dissolves itself. So the microchip, what the microchip gets attached to, such as the antenna substrate, the label, etc. Those are materials that can be more concerning for the environment. However, the latest generation of eco-friendly products, and Carl has mentioned that, are such that the materials that are damageable or that are damaging to the environment are eliminated, and more eco-friendly materials are used. So, Carl?
Yes, thank you, Madi. Yes, first of all, to come back on the previous question regarding metal and microwave and freezer. Yes, in Avery Denison, as I mentioned to you, we are proud because today, yes, we have this solution for any metal support or liquid. We have the solution with some tag with the high performance. Also, this tag working on the microwave, this is absolutely necessary for some ultra fresh products if you want to put on your freezer or for some ready meals. So this is the first one. Now regarding the freezer, the food market, it's a new market. And so sometimes we met some challenging points, and sometimes we have also some good surprise. And so for the frozen, because the water, the products, it's freeze. And so at the end, we have also the good performance in terms of reading. So now we work on some proof of concept for the freezer. It's working quite very well. So this is the first point. Now regarding the sustainability, as I mentioned, this is, of course, the crucial question for us. And so there is different things regarding the sustainability. It's already what it's done on the production in terms of factory. So we take care how we build the antenna. It's the aluminium. So when we use more than 75, 80%. The rest, it's a recycle, and we reuse this aluminium for the metal. After the silicon you mentioned, in terms of paper, I mentioned also we have some solution with a smart face. And we are working also now with some recycling. Why not to use also the RFID for the recycling to know exactly, to get some data about what is it, the packaging we get back on the recycling factory regarding what is it, the material of the packaging. So yes, this is the sustainability is something we take care, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Karel. We have time for one more question, and there was a question here that I like Walter to answer. Walter, the question from 445, does the solution require all consortium members to have a node behind their firewalls? If so, doesn't that lengthen the complicate the sales process? Seems like the CIO would need to be sold. So you can click on the question and see the whole question. So can you comment on that one?
Yes, thank you, Barto. Indeed, a very good question. You can indeed install behind the firewall a node in every party. However, a blockchain system is, as I said in the beginning, a very advanced and technological complex system. So what we see is that today, most of the solutions we operate in a cloud mode by which the blockchain is running on a data center in the cloud and is distributed on different nodes in the cloud. As such, it's just the integration you have to build in your own system and connect to the cloud system where the blockchain is running on a variety of nodes. So this makes it easier to operate for every party. This makes it also scalable, and it's enhancing the speed of installation and deployment of the systems. So, but indeed, it's a very good question.
Okay, thank you very much, Walter. I think this also comes to the end because we are at the top of the hour, and that means that we ask you, and it's also here on the bottom, you can send your questions to the individual speakers as well. So you can send questions to Karel, you can send questions to Walter, to Madi, or to me. I'm also on the slide in the handout package. Be aware, AT, that means, of course, the @ sign, but otherwise we get a lot of spam. So please send us the mail. So thank you, Madi, Karel, Walter, for your interesting presentations, but also for your answers. And thank you also, dear attendees, for listening and contribution. Remember, the combination of NXP smart tags with Avery Dennison smart labels, with IBM Food Trust blockchain, is the best to ensure safety and proof of origin from farm to fork. So on your right, on the screen, there is a small block with resource list, and there you find also a PDF of this presentation. So download it, take it for yourself. We will also capture the questions and try to get where we have names to send back, but at least send your question to the individual parties. We thank you a lot. We think, stay healthy, and we say you goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.